Hello again, everyone. Marcus here. I review stuff today. I'm reviewing the song Close to the Edge by Yes. This is part of my ongoing series where I'm listening to songs that come from albums that are on Rolling Stone magazine's list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. And so this particular song comes from the album of the same name, which is number 445 on the list. Yes is Close to the Edge, released by Atlantic in 1972. About the album, Rolling Stone says sessions for this album were so intense and taxing that Monster drummer Bill Bruford quit the band when it was over due to stress. The hard work paid off. Close to the Edge is the best of Yes's many lineups at an absolute peak, with John Anderson's Sun King vocals pouring out over new member Rick Wakeman's dazzling keyboards. The title track, an 18-minute epic in four distinct parts, remains the most majestic moment in prog rock history. So, I've heard, I think, maybe one or two songs from Yes before. I want to say Owner of a Lonely Heart and Roundabout, probably the only two I think I've heard from them. And honestly, those I know that it is progressive rock, but that's no 18-minute epic. So I have a feeling that this is going to be maybe a little bit different than any other Yes song that I've ever heard. And so with that, I say we jump right in. By the way, if you haven't catch my last two videos, um, things are going to look and sound a little bit different today. For whatever reason, my computer gave out. It's no longer working. I'm trying to figure out and troubleshoot the issues and get it back up to normal. So right now I'm recording on my phone. I'm recording the audio and everything else on my on my iPad. I have a shitty lapel mic that probably sounds horrible. But we're gonna make it work because I finally have time to record videos because I have not had time lately. So, with that, let's jump right in. Again, this is Yes, Close to the Edge. Strap in for 15 to 18 minutes, almost 19 minutes of music here. Let's do it. Well, 18 minutes and maybe like 30 seconds of silence as we fade in.
shouldn't take away the startled memory. All in all, the journey takes you all the way. As apart from any reality that you've ever seen and known. Guessing problems only to deceive the nation. Passing past the climb halfway into the void. As we cross from side to side, we hear the total mass retain. Down at the edge, round by the corner. Close to the end, down by the river. Seasons will pass you by. Get up, get down.
So far, it's pretty good. I truly think, assuming this song is about to end, I truly think that the last half of that song really saved it for me. I think I was starting to kind of zone out a little bit. Um, and especially the last section of the song where it really picks up. That was a lot of fun to listen to. I think that really, really saved the song for me. So let's break it down piece by piece, like we always do, of course, starting with those lyrics. So I do want to read this. It says the title track from the album of the same name, considered to be one of the greatest progressive rock songs ever from one of the greatest progressive rock albums ever. It is 18 minutes and 43 seconds long, and every second is masterful. In fact, it's one of songwriter John Anderson's favorite pieces to perform. It was a fun track, I will say. So let's break it down. Let's start with those lyrics. A So there was an instrumental intro for about 4 minutes. I did not realize that was 4 minutes long, I will say. A seasoned witch could call you from the depths of your disgrace and rearrange your liver to the solid mental grace and achieve it all with music that came quickly from afar. Then taste the fruit of man recorded, losing it all against the hour and assessing points to nowhere, leading every single one. A dewdrop can exalt us like the music of the sun and take away the pain in which we move and choose the course you're running. Very fantastical sounding, with the mention of witches and curses and what have you. Down at the edge, round by the corner, not right away, not right away, close to the edge, down by the river, not right away, not right away. I will say I really did like the chorus and especially the way that it was sung, which we'll get to here in a second. Across the line, around the changes of the summer, reaching out to call the color of the sky, passed around the moment, clothed in mornings, faster than we see, getting over all the time I had to worry, leaving all the changes far behind. We relieve the tension only to find out the master's name. Down at the end, round by the corner, close to the edge, just by the river, seasons will pass you by. I get up, I get down. Now that it's all over and done, now that you find, now that you're whole. So that was really the first movement of the song. Then we get into the second movement. My eyes convinced, eclipsed with the younger moon, attained with love. It changes almost strained amidst clear manna from above. Again, very fantastical sounding. It mentions the manna. I crucified my hate and held the word within my hand. There's you, the time, the logic, or the reasons we don't understand. Sad courage claimed the victim, standing still for all to see. An armored mover's look took approach to overlook the sea. There, since the chord, the license, or the reasons we understood will be. I will say, when I look at the lyrics, I'm not too sure what's going on here in the song, and I wish I did because the writing is obviously very skillful here, and there's some fantastical elements to it. Like I said, I'm not able to quite put it together just yet. So down at the end, close by the river, close to the edge, round by the corner, close to the edge, down by the corner, down at the edge, round by a river. Sudden call shouldn't take away that the startled memory. All in all, the journey takes you all the way, as apart from any reality that you've ever seen and known, guessing problems only to deceive the mention, passing paths that climb halfway into the void. As we cross from side to side, we hear the total mass retain. Down at the edge, round by the corner, close to the end, down by a river, seasons will pass you by. I get up, I get down. And then we move into the third section of the song, which is I get up, I get down. In her white lace, and I think this is really where I started to really like the song. I will say, in her white lace, you could clearly see the lady sadly looking, saying that she'd take the blame for the crucifixion of her own domain. A lot of times it sounds like when people would lose like a loved one out at sea, right? That longing, that looking out over the edge, if you will. I get up, I get down, I get up, I get down. 2 million people barely satisfy. 200 women watch one woman cry too late. The eyes of honesty can achieve. She would gladly say it, amazement of her story. How many millions do we deceive each day, asking only interest could be laid upon the children of her domain? I get up, I get down, I get up, I get down. In charge of who is there in charge of me? She could clearly see the lady sadly looking. Do I look on blindly and say I see the way, saying that she'd take the blame for the crucifixion of her own domain? The truth is written all along the page. She would gladly say it, amazement of her story. How old will I be before I come of age for you? Asking only interest could be laid upon the children of her domain. I get up, I get down. A bit of an organ interlude, which I really enjoy the organ interlude. We'll get back to that. I get up, I get down, I get up, I get down. Yeah, and this is where the song really kicked off, and I was really hoping it would. I was like, after that kind of that slow piece, we need something to kind of really take us home, and I'm glad that they gave it to us here. The time between the notes relates the color to the scenes. A constant vogue of triumphs dislocate man, so it seems. A space between the focus, shape, ascend, knowledge of love, as song and chance develop time. Lost social temperance rules above. Then according to the man who showed his outstretched arm to space, he turned around and pointed, revealing all the human race. I shook my head and smiled a whisper, knowing all about the place. On the hill, we viewed the signs on the valley, called to witness cycles only of the past, and we reach all this with movements in between the said remark. Close to the edge, down by a river, down at the end, round by the corner, seasons will pass you by. Now that it's all over and done, called to the seed, right to the sun. Now that you find, now that your whole seasons will pass you by, I get up, I get down, I get up, I get down. I'm almost wondering now if it's that again, that idea of like losing a loved one at sea, but instead of the sea, perhaps it's space. I don't know, something spacey there near the end is kind of what I got. So lyrically, again, I really like the way that it's written. There's obviously a lot of skill and talent and thought that was put into the lyrics. I feel like I can't make heads or tails of it right now. I feel like maybe a second listen or a second read through might help me out a little bit better, or really just taking my time with it. But for right now, I'm just going to give it a thumb up for lyricism because again, I can tell that it's written from a very intriguing place of what makes me want to kind of find out more. I just don't get it yet. It's what's preventing it from getting two thumbs up. So, as far as the instrumentation and vocals go, it is kind of hard to talk about instrumentation and vocals for a full 18 plus minute song with four different, kind of movements throughout. But I will say that it really started off with that what I consider, to be sort of this progressive rock feel to it, where the time signatures felt a little off. It was a little bit hard to kind of catch a groove at first, but then they kind of gave you some more traditional kind of rock and roll, um, and some of that. Not psychedelic, but some of that progressive rock that kind of was consistent and groove like, and it was nice to kind of have that in that second movement of the song. Um, and then the third movement, when it really slowed down, I actually really, really like that. I think it maybe lingered on that point for a little bit too long, but I do like that they put that slower section there. And then I love that they really finished out with some speed, with some intensity. That really brought the song home for me. I think throughout the guitar work was fantastic, some good bass work as well. Um, some good drum fills I noticed as well. For me, the organ, I think, in the places that we got it made a lot of sense, and it sounded fantastic. It was a really really nice touch to the song. Everything I think was played at a very very high level. Again, I think there were parts that maybe lingered on a little bit too long for me. I know this is an 18-minute song, obviously, but I feel like they could probably have trimmed it down. That might be sacrilege to say for a progressive rock song. I'm sure the Yes fans are going to let me hear about it, but to me, I think there are places that you can maybe trim it up a little bit and make it a little bit tighter, and it becomes that much better of a song. Regardless, again, I think everything was performed at a high level. I think all the different movements of the song kind of kept me engaged for the majority of that 18 minutes. Again, if they kind of had slashed a little bit here and there, it would have really grabbed me. But regardless, I think the last thing I want to mention is just the vocals, and I really like their sort of harmonizing style. You get a lot of that in Roundabout, which is really the only thing I can compare it to because that's one of the few songs again that I've heard from them. But that's one thing I really like about that song is just how much harmonizing and backup vocalization there is in that song, and I feel you get a good amount of that here as well, and it sounds great. However they do their harmonies, they're doing them really well. And so I think instrumentally and vocally, this was obviously a very, very talented output that we got in this song. So with that said, I'm going two thumbs up for instrumentation and vocals. As far as replay value goes, it's kind of hard because there are some songs I have on my playlist that are 10, 15, 18, 20 minutes long. But typically, even though the songs make my playlist, I don't listen to them that much because it is sort of a commitment, like sitting down and listening to a 15 plus minute song. It can really, like, especially when you have only a little bit of time to listen to some music, you kind of want to get the most bang for your buck. And so I don't really listen to a lot of those longer songs all the time. I got to be like in the right mood for it, but every so often, 2112 by by Rush will come on, and I'll sit there and I'll be like, yeah, let's listen to this whole thing real quick, you know. But I'm just gonna be in the right mood for it. So with that said, I think this song makes the playlist. There's a lot of pieces that I like about it. I just don't know if I listen to it all the time. So with that, I'll give it a thumb up for replay value. Overall, a pretty good song, and makes me excited to see what the rest of the album holds. And so, hey, if you enjoyed the music as much as I did, go support the artists. Go listen to their music wherever you can. And if you enjoyed what you saw here today, consider supporting the channel by liking and subscribing, and commenting with your requests, turning on notifications, all that good stuff that you normally do for your favorite YouTube channels. And of course, you can follow me on Twitch, TikTok, or Instagram. Just check the description for that stuff. So, hey, that's going to be it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.